So, Ruben Amorim has taken over as Manchester United head coach. I thought today we'll go to a video and look at where the squad lies, which players can play in these positions that he wants, which players probably can't and should go, and which players can if they adapt their roles a little bit. So we're going to go through all the positions, what Amorim wants from his players, and see which ones fit. What's well known right now is Amorim wants to play a 3 at the back. He said so kind of in the press conference. He said, I'll do what I know. And he's always played a 3 at the back, so we quite know that he's going to play a 3 at the back. It's very different. It depends on the game. It depends on the personnel. It depends on kind of where he wants to expose the other team. But it's quite essential. It's a goalkeeper. It's 3 centre-backs. It's 2 more defensive midfielders, 2 wing-backs, 2 attacking midfielders, and a striker. So we'll start off with goalkeeper. What does Amorim want for his goalkeeper? He wants his goalkeeper to play out the back. He wants his goalkeeper to be good at passing short, kind of middle options into midfield, and long into space. Does that sound like a goalkeeper we know? Yeah, Andre Onana. He's really, really, really good at that. He's been one of the best goalkeepers in the league. He's prevented the most expected goals, kept the most clean sheets. He's been really, really good for Manchester United this season. Really, really good. How it will kind of vary to Ten Hag is that this area here. Amorim wants the ball played straight into these attacking midfielders here, 2 attacking midfielders here. So under Ten Hag, it was to isolate. So we kind of drop back. The centre-backs drop back, the midfielders drop in, and it was to get the isolation of the striker and the 2 wingers, trying to get them 1v1 and get them direct balls to them to feet a lot of the time. A lot of the time it was to feet. How many times did we see this kind of combination of Onana with the ball, a centre-back to the side, a centre-back to the side, then pass to each other, kind of do an interchange, and Onana just blast it along to Garnacho or Rashford on the wings or to Højlund to feet. That happened so many times, it was quite obviously an instruction. A lot of long balls into feet. The difference is this time is that a lot of the long balls played under Amorim are not to feet. So, for example, if the other team is completely pressing high, they've got their attacking midfielder. So we got our centre backs here. They're completely going for it. They're going high on us. Going 1v1. He then wants them to close the pitch. So he wants his centre mid to drop in, and kind of create this structure here. See this structure between the centre backs. You kind of got these loads of passing triangles here. His wing backs could stay here. Obviously keep him wide, but you can see where the space is. It's for the striker to move into this space or to that space now over here. So Onana, instead of playing the ball to feet to a Garnacho over here or Rashford over here, he's playing it into space over here for the striker. Completely different way of playing now. He's passing into space, and Onana's ping passing is really good. But also, if they're sitting back a bit, let's say they're kind of just waiting for the press, they're kind of in between press, kind of a mid-block, and this player finds a space here. What we saw a lot of Onana into Milan, he can fire the ball straight here into midfield. He's really good at that, and this player can turn and go towards a goal. We saw that a lot in the Champions League final. We've seen none of that really at Man United because we didn't have a midfield under Ten Hag. So that's just a little bit of the goalkeepers. So we go to this sheet. Onana, what we're going to do is green, yellow, orange. Green, perfect for the system. Kind of suits straight away. Yellow, either he's not great for the system, or he's getting old and maybe need to replace him, or he can if he adapts. So Onana green, quite obviously, he's been really good. Bayindir and Heaton, I say they're both yellow. Bayindir hasn't impressed when he has played, but obviously has never had a chance. Heaton, decent to be around, good third choice keeper. Obviously quite good in the locker room, well liked by the players and the staff. And seemingly a good leader in the locker room. So I think he's a good player to keep around, but obviously not long term, that's why he's not green. Moving on to the centre-backs. Obviously, 3 centre-backs now instead of the 2. But luckily we kind of do have an abundance of them. They never seem to be all available at the same time. They seem to, even though we have a lot of them, seem to be very few of them, even when we're playing 2. But Now we're playing 3, we do need an abundance of centre-backs and different roles in between. So the wide centre-backs, they need to be able to cover ground. They need to be able to be quick and cover space because they sometimes are marking the wingers. So as we can see here, this is what we kind of look like in possession of the ball. This striker, these wingers, if like they're tactically told to, they're going to try and exploit these spaces on the side. These spaces on the side are where 3 of the backs are going. So if they're narrow, these guys are going to try and get run. If they're wide, the striker is going to peel off into the gaps. So these centre backs do have to have a bit of physicality about them because they're going to have to defend quite a bit. They're going to have to defend these wide areas. They're going to have to, when the winger's going by them, most likely they're not going to go and slide tackling in unless the ball is there to be won. They're going to delay. They're going to delay for everyone to get back into shape, the wing back to come back, and hope when by the time the other team gets forward like this, maybe they have an advantage where they can wing the ball back quickly. They're not going to go sliding in with the other 2 centre-backs backing up. They're going to delay, wait for the other midfielders and wing backs to get back and make the tackle. So maybe someone who's defensive instinct first in the wide areas, it's not so great. In the middle centre-back, that's a bit different. They're allowed to go into midfield. They're allowed to kind of step up a little bit. But in the wide areas, it's about getting back, it's recovering, it's delaying, good jockeying, being physical with them. And obviously in this day and age, the centre-backs have to be ball players. They have to be able to pick the ball up in tight spaces, build out from back, short passing, long passing, just have a bit about you playing that back. In the AMORIM system, it kind of changes depending on where he wants to expose the other team. But sometimes the middle centre-back, left centre-back, right centre-back, just like this. But sometimes the left centre-back pushes the left-back when building out and kind of like goes like this. Sometimes obviously it's the other side, the right centre-back. So kind of got to be a bit flexible sometimes doing that. And the middle centre-back sometimes pushes into midfield a little bit to kind of create this 2-3 sometimes, but most likely it's a 3-2. So they've got to have a level ball playing ability about them. Right, I've split the centre-backs into where I think they'll be their role will most likely be. So I've got Martinez and Maguire on the left-hand side. Obviously Martinez is left-footed, quite a natural position. Maguire, when played at centre-back, unless it's under Ten Hag, he likes that left-hand side. He played that left centre-half role a couple of times under Solskjaer, played it at the Euros in 2021. So that's kind of his role. Is Martinez physically good enough to play this role? I don't know. Since his first season, defending these wide areas kind of have been a bit problematic. So it's a maybe. As good as he's in the ball, he's amazing in the ball. Stepping into midfield, making a challenge. As a leader, he's amazing. I love him like that. In a 3, maybe because there's a bit of cover around him and he doesn't have to go sliding, but that's his instinct. That's what he wants to do. Has he got the physicality to delay defenders, get his body into them and delay them? Long term, I don't know. He's had quite a few injuries. That's why it's a yellow. It's going to be a yellow for Martinez. I'd love him to do it. He's one of my favourite players. But there is a question mark about physicality and what this system needs from him. Maguire, I think at this point in his career, it's a red. Yes, he can play that role, and if we can keep him on for maybe one more season, but physicality-wise, he hasn't got a pace to defend these wide areas. Ball playing-wise, he's not that great. He's got a good switch in him, but that's about it. He's not quick in these passes. I just don't think he's got what it takes to really play this system at the highest level. That's where we want to be. Where do we want to be? We want to be a Champions League club, and that's what these signings need to be. We can't have these players who go, he can maybe, but we need to be able to, yes, they can play that. Mover into centre, I think it's De Ligt and Evans. Evans, I'm just going to put red, just because of his age. We can't keep him around too long, I don't think, really. He's played well since coming back, but again, like Maguire, long term, we can't have him at the club. He's not going to play in the wide areas because obviously he hasn't got the physicality to do that. It would just pull every hamstring he has. And in the middle, yes, he can probably play that this season, but I don't think we can keep him on much longer. De Ligt, I think it's the perfect role for him. Since coming in, he's kind of shown a bit of leadership in that back line. I think he's been quite solid. He's obviously had these few rocky moments, a couple of slips here and there, giving the ball away, but it's a new system. He's played in a team that's completely, like, it doesn't function at all well. And I think this is the perfect system. It allows him to be that physical centre back he is. The central centre back can push into midfield a little bit, can win the ball back, can push up, but he's also got the pace to recover. He can be physical with forwards. I think it's the perfect position for him, and he's played in that kind of system before at Juventus, so I think this is perfect for him. On the right hand side, we'll start off with Euro. It's a green. He's got the pace to cover wide areas. He's got the ball playing ability to play out. He's 19. He's one of the best centre back prospects in Europe. I think this is perfect. Really, really, really good for him. Lindelof, I think he's a red. Like Maguire, maybe one more season we can get out of him, but I just don't think so. He hasn't got the physicality for the Premier League. He hasn't got the physicality to defend these wide areas. He's never really brave enough in the header. He's not that great on the ball. People say, yeah, he can pick out a pass, but does he really? He kind of just keeps it safe a lot of the time. So I just don't think he's that good for this. So under AMORIM, we're going to move now into the two midfielders. So the two midfielders do have different roles in this. He usually has a one ball winner and one playmaking ball player. So difference is sometimes the playmaking player, the better person on the ball, better attacking player, moves up and moves into this space like a 3-1-6 and leaves the centre mid to kind of just defend by himself. Here's an example. So if the centre back has the ball here and he picks out, I don't know, this right centre back. This left centre mid at Sporting, this was Braganza, it was Morita, it was Mateus Nunes when he was there. They're allowed to kind of roam into this position. So kind of overload you can see in this area. So it's kind of 3v3 in this area and there's pockets of space to be found, leaving this player by himself. So what does that mean? So the attacking midfielder, the more attacking midfielder of the two, obviously they still have to be good defensively because they do have to work back. They are part of that too defensively, so they've got to work back as well. But they've got to be good on the ball, got to have good movement, and got to have good technical prowess to be in them tight spaces. So I've got a couple players that I think can do this role if being asked. So Mainu is a green. He's got all the attributes for this role. He's good on the ball. He works well in tight areas. He can move forward with the ball. He can also play with his back to goal. He can defend well. He's got the energy for that. It's perfect for him. It's the perfect role. And it's a midfield that will suit him as well more than the non-existent midfield that we had under Ten Hag. Eriksen, I don't think it suits him as well. At all. Yes, on the ball, he'll be good. Off the ball, it's the complete opposite of what he was asked to do under Ten Hag. So under AMORIM, the midfield setups in a different way. So under Ten Hag, these midfielders would usually kind of stay around here and not be able to move with the play and not go up here and win the ball. Under AMORIM, that's completely different. They're used there to win the ball back. These five players, this attacking midfielder, striker, attacking midfielder, right centre, left centre mid, are used to win the ball back high pitch. The wing backs are there to kind of just block passes, press if they can find the overload. They're here to kind of be that extra person, but not, trigger the press. So it will be the attacking midfielders that are triggering the press. The attacking midfielder will go out. The striker when they come in. The right centre mid will come in, and they'll all go together. And this is where Eriksen will fail. Does he have the energy to do this? And then if the ball is switched to the other side, gotta go straight back out. Them five together, all go straight back out to the other side as quick as possible to deny anything into this midfield. AMORIM, this is the key to AMORIM. He wants stuff to go down the wing, fund it out, and nothing into midfield. If the ball's played into midfield and they get through, not happy. He wants the opposition, to maybe play the ball into midfield and we pounce on it and get the ball out. He wants that overload in there. Has Eriksen got the energy to do that? I don't think so. I think he'll leave holes, he'll leave gaps, and I don't think that's what AMORIM wants. That's why he's a red. The other two players I don't think this is their best position, but I think they can fill in there. Mount, he's got the energy to do this role. He can kind of ball play in this role. I don't think he has a position of discipline maybe to play this role, but I think it's more suited to that role than the one under Ten Hag, where the midfielder kind of got to stay back. He wants to press high. He wants to use his energy, and under Ten Hag, that kind of wasn't utilised when he moved into midfield, but this kind of helps him more. Same with Fernandez. I don't know if he's got the temperament to do that. I don't know, because he loves the Hollywood pass. Under AMORIM, he doesn't want his midfielders to lose the ball. That's key. He doesn't want to lose the ball in midfield. He wants to play simple, safe passes. He wants his attacking midfielders to lose the ball. He wants his wing-backs to lose the ball, because that's where he can press high. The reason AMORIM doesn't want his midfielders taking chance on the ball, because it's so easy on the transition if you get the ball in these areas. Quickly, if this right centre mid loses the balls to the attacking midfielder, he gets the ball, watch straight up. He's got options all over the pitch. He can right, centre, left. But if we lose the ball over here, we've got this player to cover. Is the ball over here to this opposite side, is that a good possibility? If it's a top quality player, yes, but most likely no. But also, if this left wing back you lose the ball, the attacking midfielder can back up, the left centre mid can go there as well. If the attacking midfielder loses the ball, the striker can come in, the other attacking midfielder come in, the left centre mid can come in. If this player loses the ball, these players, unless there's nobody else around them, they can't do anything about it because they might be pinned back from another player. So these players got to keep the ball. They can't do these Hollywood passes and maybe lose the ball. They got to keep the ball, keep it ticking, get into the dangerous areas. So I'm going to put Mount and Fernandez as yellow because whilst I think they can play there, I don't think it'd be their best position. Moving on to the other one, the DM. So when this player moves forward into the position, this player has to keep in this space. Be on the lookout to mop out any mess. If we're over here and we lose the ball, he's got to be ready to pounce into this. If we're over here, he's got to be ready to pounce. Okay? He's got to have the legs to cover all that bit, but also he should be backed up by other teammates. It's not Ten Hag where it's Casemiro here, two centre-backs, and this whole field here. He'll be backed up by other players, so it's a bit more structured. This only happens when we're against poorer teams. Most likely, it'll be the two. But he does still want someone who's more energy and tackling focused in that midfield. There's two players in his night squad that this position suits: Casemiro and Ugarte. Ball winners, defensive first players. Well, I don't know if Casemiro is that anymore. He loves attacking, but it's these kind of players that he wants. Ugarte is a straight green. He's played in this system before. He loves being that front foot, hounding defender. It's perfect for him. Casemiro, 5 years ago, yes. Now, the thing is with Casemiro, what we've seen under Ten Hag is him in the midfield that's completely open and not suited to him at all. He's covering half the pitch himself in the middle against four players sometimes. I'm going to put him in as yellow because I don't think it's as bad, or at least I'm trying to give it a chance to think it's not as bad as we've seen. Yes, he's going to have to be much safer on the ball. He's not being granted the ball. But if that can be coached into him a little bit, don't do this Hollywood passing kind of stuff, I think maybe it kind of suits him being that just defensive first. Get that defensive first back into his brain. Maybe. It's more of a red than a yellow, but I'm trying to give him a chance a little bit. Just a little bit of a chance. Moving on to the wing backs. Their job in possession, stay wide. Stay wide. Being wide on this pitch offers difficulties for the other team. If they're defending narrow, then their fullbacks, the wingers are going to have to get back and defend. And suddenly we kind of just go on overload over here and we can kind of work the ball and control the game ourselves. But if it's their fullbacks for some reason, I don't know why they would do this, covering out here, then suddenly there's space over here, there's spaces over here. You get what I mean. If the wing backs do kind of drift inside, then it's just easy to defend. Look at the bodies. There's just nothing you can do about it in there. There's nothing you can do against teams if you've got nothing out wide. Okay? Nothing you can do about that. So if the players are out wide and they are defending narrow like this, then we've got the options to pass out wide. They got space in the ball and can cross it in. So they've got to be good at crossing. Okay? Crosses. It doesn't matter kind of what foot they are. Amarin's used left foot on the right foot on the left. So it depends on what suits the game, maybe what style player. He's moved wingers into these positions to just get more quality on the ball. But their main objective is to feed the strikers and attacking midfielders. Play 1-2s. Play off these players. Play off the attacking players. If the striker's making a run and then they're playing it, if the striker's making a run, they're playing in. Feed off these players. Do 1-2, so play them in here and then move. You've got to be pass and move, pass and move. You can't stay in the same place when you're near the ball. When the whole team shifts over to this side to help out with this player's going to have to keep wide on this side. So if the whole team shifts over to defend, this player's got to keep their width. Keep their width. Maybe come inside a little bit, but keep their width. They're going to be the up person to overload the other side. Now, defending. It's a bit different. You would think of the wing back, he's got to be good defensively. I don't think that's truly the case, and I'll show you why. So what I said earlier about the wide centre-backs have to be good at holding up the play. When in transition, if the player gets beyond and the wide centre-back gets back, they're not going to tackle. The reason is because AMORIM doesn't really want... He wants more players back. So the hope is, by the time we get back and this wing back gets back, we kind of overload them and they can't play through us. That's if we get caught in transition. Now, why I don't think the left wing back is kind of that important is because, like I said earlier, AMORIM doesn't want anything through the middle. So what all the sides are doing is funneling towards the middle of the pitch. They kind of want the ball to go into the middle so we can win it back. So if the right wing is up here and they've got a wing back, it's this job here of these three players to kind of funnel the ball into the middle where we kind of have a numerical advantage. So if it's like this, obviously the goalkeeper's not there. If it's like this, we can kind of see we have the advantage. They've got 2v3 kind of over here. If they get around us, great. No, I mean, not great. But if the game is kind of funnel them back into this midfielder where we can pounce. We can then pounce on them. He's not asking them to tackle. He's not asking them really to do much. He's asking them just to funnel into areas where we can pounce them as a group and get the ball back. So they do have to be hard working. That's the difference. They've got to be hard working. They've got to get up and down. They've got the energy, the stamina to get up and down. But that's really what all he asks of you. So let's see what players kind of fit either side of that. Right wing back, we're going to start off with Mazraoui. He's been amazing this season. Really, really, really good. Strong in the tackle, good technically in small spaces, decent crossing. I think he's been really good. I think this suits us as well. He loves going up and down that right hand side. I think he's really, really good for this role. And Dalot, he's not been good this season. He was good last season. This season, lots of lacking in concentration. So many goals. I remember the Spurs game. I remember the West Ham game a couple of times. I remember in the Leicester game we just had, he kept Didi on side by quite a few yards. So luckily this wing back role is, you don't have to lack concentration. You do need energy, which will suit him. Does he have the final third quality? Don't know. But I'm going to put him as green because I think he can work with that. Now, Ahmad and Anthony. They're kind of similar to Quenda, who's playing that role at Sporting Lisbon right now. A 17-year-old left-footed winger. You wouldn't have thought that's the wing back he's playing, but he is. And he's doing really well with it because he's putting the effort in to going back defensively and he's getting quality off in the final third because that's where mostly Sporting Lisbon are, and that's kind of where we hope to be. So I think Ahmad can play that role well. Technically, really, really good. Can pick out a pass, can shoot, can dribble. He can do that. Works hard defensively. I think he can play this role. I'm going to put him as yellow because obviously we haven't seen it yet. But I think he can play that role if asked. Probably mostly against the worst of teams. But I think he can play that role. Anthony, there's not many roles he can play in this team. I don't think he can play on the left-hand side because it's just so obvious what he's going to do. And you kind of don't want him because teams are going to funnel him into the middle where you don't want him to be. On this side, you want him to have that option to, cut inside, maybe go on the outside and speed past players, but I still don't think it's great. He will have the energy and work rate to come back. That is one thing he will have. But quality on the ball, he doesn't have a pass in him. He can't really beat a player. He hasn't got the physicality to do that. So I just don't think it's great for him. Right then, left wing back, Luke Shaw. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. When he's playing, he's good. He hasn't played. He just doesn't play. He's never really played for us. I think he's missed more games than he's played. And I just don't think you can rely on that. Maybe for 1 or 2 more seasons, we can keep hold of him. He can be the backup. He can be the player that comes in, plays 15 Premier League games a season, 20 Premier League games maybe. Can fill in different positions. He can probably play centre-back. In fact, I've put Luke Shaw in the left centre-back role because I forgot he can play there as well. So I think he's as good in both roles, really. But I'm just going to put him... I'm going to put him in yellow. I think if we do buy one player and we can hope he stays fit enough that we can back up that player, I think we can. But I think the plan is probably to get a player above him this summer. He can be the backup. He can be the player that if he's playing well, he can play. But if he's injured, we got another player there. That's good enough and got quality to play that position. That's why it's a yellow. I think he could be sold. He could probably not play there. But I think his quality is just so good. That's the annoying thing about Luke Shaw. His quality is so good. Malacia, it's a wreck. I don't think any of this suits him at all. Even before his injuries. He's a good technical player. He can kind of get into them pockets and play pass as well. But he's not that great at it. He's not better than Luke Shaw at it. Defensively, that's kind of not what we're asking from his wingers. He can have the energy to get up and down. But he's not great at crossing. He can't really pick up a pass in the final third. And obviously, he hasn't played in 18 months. So, it's a red. And I like him, but I just don't think he's great. Garnacho. People are saying he can play here. I'm not going to put it as a green. But I'm going to put it as a yellow because I want to see it kind of happening. Like Ahmad on the other side, he has the work rate and the stamina and the intensity to get back and do kind of that job of just delaying the play, get into position and work with the team. He's got, obviously, he's shown this season, he's got the final third quality. He's been really, really good at picking up passes, getting in on goal, or shooting a lot. So much shooting. But he's so young, he's 20 years old. I hate when people get on his back. He's 20 years old. 20. He's so good for his age, and I just don't think you can get onto him about what he's been doing this season at 20 years old. Now, is he suited to this position? I don't know. Against the big teams, I don't know. He might have to grow out a bit of physicality, I think. A bit of strength, maybe. But I think on the ball, yes. Off the ball, he showed... What we've seen with Rashford and Garnacho this season, when they're playing on the left, they're kind of been told to stay high. And it's like, they're letting the fullbacks go across them. I think they're told to be doing that. Because both him and Rashford have done it on the left. They haven't done it on the right. On the left, they've been told, I think, this season, stay high. I hope the fullback doesn't overlap, basically. And when they do, and they're told to stay high, and they get blamed for it, I think if he's been told to work back, I think he'll work back. But I'm not going to put it as green, because obviously we haven't seen it. Now, on to the attacking midfielders. What is AMORIM asking them? He's asked them to work in these spaces here, between the centre mids and the defence. You've got to be able to technically be good enough to work in these tight spaces here when it's sometimes completely packed with players and narrow. You've got to be able to either find spaces in here or pin the players in there. You've got to have the mentality to say, I'm just going to stay in this position. I'm not going to go out wide and cover this space over here because that's where the wing back's supposed to be. They're meant to stay in this area, overload this player. One, because if we do lose the ball, he wants this midfield to be packed. If we lose the ball and this player is out here waiting for the ball, then suddenly it's 3v3 in here with a wing on the other side, you're getting overloaded. If you lose the ball, when they're all in there, suddenly you've got 4v4 and you can pounce on them. That's what AMORIM wants. He doesn't want the attacking midfielders to drift so far either way. So, they've got to have the energy, one to, like we saw earlier, win the ball back. Got to be high intensity energy. They've got to be good enough to be able to pick up these areas where sometimes they've got 2 in front, 2 behind, and they've got to do a quick turn and pass to a wing back, pass to a striker, touch and shoot. So you've got to be able to work in these tight areas. You haven't got you can't, like the wing backs, maybe have the opportunity to pick up speed and dribble past with your players. You've got to be work tight in areas and make quick decisions. Decision making is very key in these areas. So I picked out a few attacking midfielders that I think will probably play in these roles at some point during this season under AMORIM. So we'll start on the left-hand side. Fernandes, Obviously, he can play both sides. He's really good on both sides, but just put him on the left because he can play anywhere green. It's what we've seen with Bruno the whole time. He's really good. What we saw under Van Nistelrooy is also get him higher at the pitch, get him close to the goal, and he just picks out these passes. He can do anything with the ball. He can get runners off him. He can shoot. He can create. Really, really good. Rashford and Garnacho. Oh, it's different. It's different. I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's different. They're not going to be picking up the ball in the wide areas and driving in. They're going to be picking up these balls in these tight areas and maybe having to find the pass and maybe not getting involved as much, not making these runs in behind. They're going to have to keep in these areas. If they make the runs in behind, then it kind of doesn't fulfill what the team needs. We need them in them tight areas to be able to play the ball off each other. So do they fit? I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes. I think we'll see. They do have the ability to do it. I believe in them both. I love them both. It's not a definite yes, though. That's the thing. It's not a definite yes. Can they adapt? I think both of them can adapt. But it's not a definite yes. On the other side, Ahmad, yes. Yes. Perfectly suits him. He has a runner to his right. He has a striker to pick out. He can pick up in tight areas, create, dribble, shoot. Perfect for him. He can do all of those things as he's shown when he has played. More under Van Nistelrooy than Ten Hag. Anthony, does he have it into this? I don't think so. I do not think so. Doesn't have the technical quality. Doesn't anything for it. I don't think so. And now Mason Mount. Yeah, I think it fits him. I think it fits him quite well. Kind of similar to what he did at Chelsea. Kind of being that player between the lines, can pick up the ball, can move in tight space, can pick up the pass, can drive with the ball a bit, can shoot well as well. If he puts in position, I think it kind of suits him quite well. Obviously, staying injury free. That's a big part of this. And I put Xerxes in here because I just don't know where he fits in. I think he can play here-ish. I don't know. He's got good ball control. He's got decent dribbling. He can work in tight areas. That's why I think he can maybe play in this role. Does he maybe have the energy or the vision and the picking of the pass in these kind of areas when he's being relied on all the time, not just when we're kind of in transition and the striker can pick out the pass? But I think he can maybe do this. I want to see him in this role. Now, the striker function under AMORIM. It's different to Ten Hag, as in like what we saw with the goalkeeper kicks earlier. He wants them, from playing like that, run into the channels. If the other team is completely going man for man, there's space here. There's space. He wants them running. He wants them drive into that space. If he does take the centre-back with him, there's more space over here for other players to run into. Occupy the centre-backs when playing out the back. When we're higher up the pitch, it's about being in the right position. If you know the ball's on this side and the player on that side's right-footed, you're probably going to go far post. If he's left-footed and you see space, a gap here, get into the front post. It's about having that striker's instinct, know what runs to make, know when to make them. And that's what this player needs. Very similar to Vicky Gyökeres. He's the perfect striker for that role, as we saw at Sporting. Being in the right place at the right time, having the physicality to bump off a defender and find space. He's got to have good striker's instinct. Got to be good at heading with high crosses. Got to be good with his feet, because sometimes he does pick up his technical areas and maybe make a pass into another player. So he's got to have all these attributes to really excel as well, especially in the Premier League. There's 3 players in this squad that are strikers, kind of. Højlund, what I hope we can see from him, I think it's a green. What we've seen from him so far in the United shirt, it's not. What we've seen from him in the United shirt so far has not been great. Yes, he has not been helped. The Ten Hag system was not built up to create chances for a striker. I don't know why it wasn't. It just wasn't. It was built up for him to hold the ball up and get the wingers in behind and get the fullbacks in behind. I don't know why we brought Højlund for that. So I think for a system where it's built on one, pace and power, getting in behind, making these runs, I think Højlund can do that. If he isn't shrugging off, trying to wrestle defender. That's got he's got to get out of his game a little bit. These strikers in his box, Can he do it? Yes. Is he great? Not as I've seen so far, no. But have we been in position to do it? Probably not. So I hope, I'm putting a green because I hope he can hone his skill set, because he's kind of a close skill set to Victor Gyökeres. Different feet, but he's tall, he's a strong person. He can, he can power a ball. He's got good finishing, so I think he can do it. Xerxes, on the other hand, I don't think this kind of role suits him, but you kind of got different styles in the squad. If we want to hold on to the ball a bit more, maybe have him in there, but I just don't think it's kind of what AMORIM wants from his striker. He wants his strikers to exploit that space in behind. I don't think that's what Xerxes. He hasn't got the pace for it. I just don't know. Rashford, yes, he can do that. Runs in behind, he will do that really well. That's what Rashford does all game, all the time. Has he got the striker's instinct to struggle defender, be in the right position in the box all the time? I don't think so. And not at this age of his career, I don't think so. He hasn't got the physicality for that either, really, I don't think. But he can play that if relied upon. Thanks for watching this video. This is the end. We've kind of gone through the whole squad. Left wing back, left centre back, depth midfield, and depth at centre back. They kind of seem to be the areas we kind of need to work on. That's going to be another video. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. See you next time.